What is up guys, it is Simba here and welcome back to another team racing video on F124, and today we are back in World, which is WOR's Legacy Division, and I believe it's round 17 for the Texas Grand Prix. We haven't done a race round here since Bahrain, so go and check that one out before you see this one. And you can see the track we're going around here today. It is COTA, and if you guys are long-term viewers of the channel, you will know that this is generally one of my worst tracks on the game, and we're doing this at the highest level. So it's going to be a bit of a tough one, but if you are looking forward to this one and enjoying the content, be sure to hit the like button and get subscribed for more team racing content. We're going to go all the way until F125 comes out, and I do want to quickly say, as we get turn 1 completely wrong, thank you so much for 500 subscribers. I'm so glad that we finally managed to hit this number. Regardless if you've been watching the channel since day one or you just subscribed, I really do appreciate the support on this channel, and I'm really glad that I've managed to grow an audience despite this game being horrendous. But I do appreciate everyone supporting the channel, and I hope we keep pushing until the end of this game cycle, and then when F125 comes out, we keep pushing in the same trajectory. So thank you very much. And as you can see in the background, we are in our first Q1 lap because there's rain on the way, and normally you'd have to wait a good 10 minutes before you get a first timed lap in on the softs, but since rain is imminent, we're going to having to do this pretty quickly. Dan, our teammate, sets a lap, and we're not going to have a valid lap as we invalidate at the last blooming corner. So there's no lap on the board, and we really need it. Rain is imminent, as you can hear from the team radio. So let's see what we can do on our basically our final lap of Q1. The DRS is open on the main straight, and you spot the white line here at turn number 1, down to third. Again, the car just drifts away from us on the entry and on the exit, and it's not a very clean start to the lap, but we are still going to keep on pushing. We really need this lap, but at this point, the pressure is getting to me here. So down to 6th gear, sector 1, a 0.8, which isn't great. We miss the cut there, and we don't really attack this corner either, and you can see we're a 10th and a half down after marginally being up in the first sector, and it wasn't that good. So you can see it's getting to us. Again, the car just wants to drift away from us. The rear end stepping away from us on the corner entry as we drift through turn 11. DRS open again, and this time we're properly a half a tenth down now, so we've lost even more time. We're trying to use a bit more battery down this straight to try and get some of the time back before we get into sector 3 through turn 12. Again, you can cut that corner, but we do pretty decently to gain some sort of time back, but you can see we're playing with fire a little bit. We are dancing on the margins of getting into Q2, as I think we're just about 300s up on Brando's time right now, and we're not gaining much through sector 3. So this is not looking good, considering the first lap wasn't the best either. Down to 5th for the penultimate corner, pretty decent. And now the last corner, we don't cut it, but we don't attack it either. And unfortunately, we're a 10th and a half down, and across the line, oh my god. And that's it. It's done. We're 16th throughout already. And to make matters worse, we get pushed down to the back row in 19th. And we're only there because Jez had a qualifying ban. And I was devastated. I couldn't believe I got it so wrong. You can see Dan at least got one of our cars into Q2. So fair play to him. But for me, I was absolutely devastated, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I wanted this race to be over by the time Q1 was done, because it's 19th. And this is one of my weakest tracks on this game. And we are P19. Oh dear God. So, it's going to be a tough ask, but here we go. Time for the start of the race here in COTA. We're going to be starting on the hards. We're going to move on to the mediums later on in the Grand Prix. And we're going to be starting from P19. Let's see how far we can get. 5 red lights in front of everyone. All 20 drivers on the grid, ready for the start of the race, and the lights are out. And we are underway here in Texas for WR's Legacy Division. I mean, it's a pretty decent getaway, and we're looking to try and go round the outside. Into turn 1 we go. We're drawing ourselves alongside the Haas of GT10 Kiki. I believe we're 3 wide here, so we're going to have to stay hooked onto the inside line so we don't make any contact with anyone to our left, as we're still 3 wide and we end up getting squeezed off the track. And unfortunately, we get an illegal overtake by just getting pushed off the track. So we're going to have to relinquish that position. We accidentally Oh, no, never mind. Jaslik takes advantage of it, and he gets through too. So, great start. We're down in last. Start as you mean to go on here, ladies and gents. So, the only way now is up. And you can see that there has been a bit of damage going on. People are starting to, you know, fight for position as it is lap 1. You're not going to win the race on lap number 1, thankfully for us. As you can see, there's an Aston Martin recovering off the track there. It is Epic Vale in the Aston Martin. He's had a bit of contact there with TTM Mubarak, one of the pad goats on F123. And there's even more contact in front of us involving Samuel Barker and Kay Gatkowski. So we've managed to gain 3 places from incidents around us. So that is something. We've gained 2 places from where we started. So it's not the worst thing in the world. And I will say that DRS gets enabled on lap 2. The confidence does slowly build as this race goes on. And now you can see we are behind the Hasakiki, but here comes Gatkowski up the inside at turn 12. And we just decided to relinquish the position. We don't really have much pace as it is. And at this point, my confidence is still pretty low. It will go up as this race continues. But for now, we're pretty much 0 in terms of the confidence, which is not really what you want at this level, because I think people can sense that a mile away and they'll just absolutely send it. Or, in my case, you're chasing the pack and you might get left behind quite badly. So, it's going to be a bit of a tough one, but so far we are keeping up with the train. The train hasn't disconnected as of yet. And that's going to be the main priority at this early stage of the race, as we all set personal bests at the end of lap number 2, as we make a lovely transition onto lap number 3, where you can see there is quite a bit of fighting up ahead. We are slowly losing touch with the DRS group in front of us, but it's involving our teammate Dan, who managed to get to Q2, but unfortunately for him...
Right, what is that?
Oh, for fuck.
Okay, the incident's been cleared. Let's get back up to racing speed. Come on.
That is just... It's always one of our cars.
Yeah,
It's never anyone else.
That has to be a pen to the Aston, right?
He's been taken out,
yeah, I think so.
which is fantastic. And obviously, we gain a few places, but not at the expense of our teammate. You never really want to see that, especially in this tournament where teamwork is the name of the game, as Gatkowski gets his move completely wrong on Kiki on the following lap. Onto lap number 4, and you can see we've lost a lot of ground to the cars in front, but you can see now we're using the battery into hot lap now, trying not to use too much of it, as we are going to have to manage it throughout this race. But we do have the inside line on the Haas going into turn number 12, and there you go, ladies and gents. Despite having absolutely no confidence, we have managed to make an overtake. Up into P15 we go in this Texas Grand Prix, and that means we're in a point scoring position onto lap number 4. So not too bad. Slowly making progress as we skip to lap number 10. And I think I had about 2 warnings at this stage of the race. Track limits are quite brutal around here. As you can see now, we're on to the end of it. And I think that's TF10 Dirk, who's in the pit. It is TF10 Dirk. And he was chatting quite a lot of rubbish.
I think you should probably box this up, because then you get the advantage of the people that don't box.
About how good a pad driver could be. So he's in the pits for damage. Meanwhile, we're going to make a big decision on lap 13. Because we're going to be the first to blink out of all the hard runners. And we're going to box for a new set of medium tyres.
Right, oh, that's going to be key. Wait, no one pitted in front?
No, doesn't look like it.
Okay, let's go now.
Good chance for it. If you get a good lap in here, you're going to be able to maybe connect to the group ahead.
So me and Bell throughout this lap were basically talking about prioritising track position. So we've boxed pretty early for a set of mediums, where we've come out right behind TF10 Dirk.
If you need any holding up Simba.
You'll have DRS on Dirk, which is a good thing as well.
If you need any holding up Simba, I'm always
Yeah, I'm probably going to go longer with you. Dirk 3 lap or tyres.
on one.
So the idea here
6
is
seconds.
to basically connect with that front train, as I think there's been a bit of a disconnect in between the laps, if I'm not mistaken. And in hindsight, this might be a bit of a mistake. You'll see what I mean later on in the race, but we've got Dan willing to help us out. He's looking to go longer into the race and willing to hold up cars in order to make this strategy work. But you can see now we're about to pass TF10 Dirk, which is quite satisfying considering the context
Circles
I
on
just
wheel.
gave a few moments ago, but we completely lag. The stream just completely lags. Nice.
Sports pitting.
Nice stuff. I can confirm I did pass him, by the way. It's not just me pretending to overtake him. I did pass him, but you can see now, on to lap 15, we're jumping a few cars that have boxed already, so we're up into P16, so you can see now that we've got a 1.2 second gap to what's in the Haas. He's going to quickly catch up with us as we set our personal best on lap
No, I'll fight.
6:15 on to lap 16. You can see there's cars in front of us now coming out of the pits, and Epic Vale along with Justin as well, and we're just outside DRS range, but you can hear me just getting a bit annoyed because I made a big mistake on this lap. I can't quite pinpoint what it was, but I remember making a mistake here, and it might have cost us the potential to get into DRS, and by the time we get to the end of lap 16 we have let Warts through. And this is basically the problem with boxing so early, because with this game, a tyre delta of maybe 2-3 laps is really, really big. And there's quite a pace difference if you can't really sustain it on an older set of tyres. It's a bit like EML, but now you can see more cars coming out of the pits at the start of lap 17. And we're right in the fray, along with Joe Murphy and co. We're just ahead of TF10 Brando as well. So this has worked very, very nicely. And all we need to do is just try and maintain this pace until the end of the Grand Prix, and we might see ourselves in a pretty decent position. But unfortunately,
5
No!
cars.
Time penalty for that last incident, mate.
Fuck's sake!
yep, nice job, Brad. Get yourself a 3-second penalty to undo the entire point of the strategy. Well done. And yeah, it's a 3-second penalty, ladies and gents.
What net position
I
am
believe we're in a net
5 cars
P10,
haven't
as 5 cars are yet to stop, including Dan. So we've managed to get ourselves into the fray for a potential top 10, but it's not going to be sustainable, as these guys have just come out of the pits maybe 1, 2, maybe even 3 laps ago, and we're starting to pay the price here. Brando doesn't really
At the end of this group.
make it look very difficult to overtake us, because I know that these tyres are going to be slightly older, so the priority is going to try and to keep up with them, but unfortunately that just doesn't happen. You can see Dan did his best to try and hold people back, but they eventually got through, and we both fell out of DRS range by the time we got to lap 20. So this is not exactly worked out, but we are P11 on track. Penalties have started to rack up a little bit. Well, stack up, actually. That's a proper word for it. As we do get
Right.
past Dan.
These
Run a
are
little
these
bit wide at
payment
the
cars
same
now.
time. We do get away with that.
Done.
But
Jeslo,
yeah,
man.
we are
Yeah.
into P10.
Right.
So it has given us track position over cars that were ahead of us through the majority of the first stint. But unfortunately, it's going to be quite hard to keep these guys behind, because at this stage of the race, I could already feel the mediums were not exactly at the peak of its life anymore. So it's going to be very hard to keep these guys behind. And Jesler was the first person to get past Dan, along with Gatkowski, his teammate, and he's 3 seconds back. So the idea here is we're going to let Jesler go, try and keep up with him. But unfortunately, because these tyres are going off so quickly, I'm struggling to keep up in the corners, especially the long winding ones. And unfortunately, we just make things worse. It's a 6-second pen now. We got our 4th warning just after we got the 3-second penalty. And there you go, another penalty. So yeah, the prospects of a top 10 are basically in the mud. And you can see Katkowski breezing through a few laps later on lap 23. And again, we're basically facing the same problem here. We just do not have the grip.
His tyres are 5 laps special.
I honestly feel we kind of stopped a little too early. Just a bit. And
Yeah.
it makes such a difference.
And there you go. That's basically the problem. We essentially boxed way too early. And as a result, we didn't really have much to fight with. And we didn't have much pace to begin with as well. So it just hampered. It just exacerbated that issue of having no grip. And we're just plummeting down the order like a stone here. You can see a few laps to go now. Epic Vale, who's recovered from that spin on lap 1. And Evie Nassim also just fly past us as well. And you can see we're just trying not to get 9 seconds of pens. As you can see that Nassim does. So Epic Vale moves up into P12. We're down to P14. And the maximum here is 13th. Which isn't the worst considering we started 19th. But considering we were on the fringes of a top 10, it is a little bit a little bit disappointing. You can see Justin's won the race. We skipped to the end of the race. It was a massive struggle to keep up with the 2 cars in front through the 3rd sector as the tyres are gone. We hit 70% tyre wear on the rear end, and this comes to an absolute relief to cross the line, and it is only P13. So not much to rave about, and the silence to no reaction there is pretty deafening. So that was COTA. Now, this race was before the 1-2 in AEC, and there will be another one to follow as well. But the main problem here is qualifying. We just cannot clutch up at all, and I think the next few races need to be better in that regard. The pace, we did our best. It was okay. There's not much to rave about, and I think we only got, what, 3 points for P13, if I'm not mistaken. So we got something out of it, but yeah, this was a very painful race, and it just goes to show that, you know, you can have a really high point in league racing, and then sometimes it brings you back down to earth in this fashion, and it's quite a awful feeling, really. And I'm going to make sure that this doesn't happen again, because, you know, I wouldn't recommend this. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy in league racing, to feel like that after a race. So we're going to try and bounce back and do better, because it's simply not good enough. But we did get something out of it. So hope you guys enjoyed that one. Subscribe for more. And as always, I will see all of you in the next one.